So I'm going to be making a video today. I'm working on my 62 ramp side, and what I'm doing today is I am working on the heater distribution box that is above the transaxle on these. The doors in it are all, the rubbers are all swelled up and half the rubber's missing, and we're going to try and take it apart and fix the doors up. Also, just get down a little closer here. You can see the end of these heat cable and also the air door cable here. And on this cable here, on the heater cable, what happened is the end of this broke off. But my conduit was pretty good shape, so I ordered number 25 music wire off of Amazon. I got a whole pile of it, probably enough to do 3 or 4 cables, and I pushed it in. You need about 11.5 feet or so, and once it was up to the front, I rolled a round end on it like this one has. There's a video up there that shows you the tool I made to do this. And once we get the heater box rebuilt, I'll cut this to length here at this end and roll another end on it, and that'll hook up to the heater box. I noticed putting the new wire in that it's a lot smoother action, very little resistance. There was no rust or anything on the old wire, but I think just in use over the years and no lubrication in there, etc., you can really feel the difference between the stiffness of the old cable compared to the new wire I put in. So that should help quite a bit with the controls. Now I'll try and get this as best I can. I'm on my own here today. So this is the heater box for a Corvair, and I'm sure most of you have a Corvair recognize this heater box here. And the doors in it, I'll show you here. These are the doors that go into the air distribution box. This one here I've rebuilt already, and I'll go into detail on how I did that and how I got the box apart. This door here is the heater blend door. You can see that one there. And what I've done is I used a spot weld cutter, and I cut out all 12 spot welds on the door. And once you get them cut out, you can take these two pieces apart like that, and you don't have to worry about the door arm. The door arm is spot welded onto the back in 3 spots, so your angle of your arm won't get messed up. Also, when they built these doors, they have, you can see these 4 little dimples here, and they line up the door. They pile it into one another, and when you squeeze them together, that lines the door up. Now on this door, when I put it back together, I drilled some holes and put in pop rivets, and I'm going to prime it and paint it, of course. But I do have a spot welder and was going to use a spot welder instead. But the more I got thinking about it, I thought down the road I might have to come in here and take this door apart again. And I thought it'd be a lot easier if I just put rivets in. It'd be easy to get apart. Now the material I used, I ordered this sheet of 12 by 12 inch sheet from Amazon again. It was very inexpensive, like I think it was $10 for this sheet. And it's nitrile or Buna N, and it's 60 Shore. So it's soft enough, and it's about the right material and temperature range and everything. On the doors here, when they get squeezed together, There's a wee bit of an offset here on the side, and when they're squeezed together it leaves a little bit of a gap for the rubber to go into and holds it in place. And there's also a bunch of holes punched around the periphery of the door, and they stand proud a bit, and they grip a hold of the rubber as well. So when you do get it all together, it holds it quite tight. So I'm going to clean these up today, and we're going to cut out some rubber, just like I did on these ones here. And the rubber I used on the air door is a 1/16 of an inch thick, and you can see that's one side of one door gasket on this door here. And you just glue them in place on one of the door sides with weather strip adhesive, and then squeeze them together and rivet it up. Now, to get into the heater box, what I had to do was, see if I can see this here. So on this side of the box here, on the side where the levers both come out, I drilled all the spot welds down along here until I got to near the end where this right-hand heater inlet comes in from the engine. The hose comes in from the engine right about here. And I was able to just spring this apart enough to slip the doors out. There's nylon bushings in the other side. We'll see if I can get a little better picture of this here. And you just put the door in. You line it up with the bushing, push it across, and then you can squeeze it down again and see how it fits and work the door in there. This one turned out really nice. Today I'm going to work on the big door, which is the heat blend door. It's farther down in the case down here where you can see my finger wiggling. And once I get a little bit further along, I'll show a few more videos of that door being built. And when I'm done, I am going to spot weld this together because it shows along this edge of this lip here. You can see the gap I've created, and there's the lip on top. So I'll spray it with a bit of weld through primer just to combat any rust in the future. I'll use my spot welder to spot back along here beside where the original spot welds were. And I could clean it up and put a bit of filler in the other holes if I need to, and then hit it with some black paint. And that should fix this up. And the reason I'm doing this is, anybody who has Corvair knows if you have a oil leak or a gas leak or anything in the engine, the air flows over the engine and heats up and goes up to the cab. So any oil, exhaust leaks, or anything that goes over the engine comes up to the exhaust, or comes up to the cab of your car or truck, and you can really smell it. It can be quite dangerous too if you get an exhaust leak and it comes up. So you want these doors, especially the air door here on the front, you want to be able to shut that off and shut the blend door completely off to completely block any airflow up to the front. Just in case there's a problem, you know, you're out somewhere and your oil pressure switch springs a leak and starts leaking down the back of the engine there, and you start smelling oil and it's smoking, you can shut both doors off, or we'll be able to shut both doors off and just block the anything from coming up front. And I'm quite pleased with it. It seals really well, this Buna N I bought. I did buy some nitrile, which would be a better material to use, but it's a 1/16 inch nitrile. Actually, when I measure it here, is just shy of 1/8 of an inch. And it might work for the bigger door because there's a bit more of a gap where the rubber gets squeezed. So I might try that on that door, but on the air door, a 1/16 inch rubber or nitrile is perfect, or Buna N, which is the same thing. Anyway, that's it for that, and I'll show you a little bit more when I'm farther along. So I just wanted to show you the setup I used in the drill press here to drill out the spot welds, and let's see if I can get that to, there we go. You can see the these are the holes here where my finger is. Let's see if I can get a better shot of that there. There's one right there, that I drilled out with the spot weld cutter. So you just put the spot weld cutter in the chuck, and you could use a hand drill if you wanted to do this as well. My spot weld cutter has a small spring-loaded tip on the end. You put that tip in the center of the spot weld and just slowly bring it down, and it cuts a ring around the spot weld. Once all the spot welds are done, you have all 12 spot welds drilled out, you just put a screwdriver in the edge and it just comes right apart. And then what you're left with is this gasket material that was between the two halves. And you can see where the punched out holes squeeze on the rubber to help hold it in place. And this is just swelled all up, busted and cracked. You can see it's all coming apart. It doesn't seal at all anymore. So I'm going to cut one of these out of the nitrile today, and we're going to put it in and see how it works out. So I just wanted to show you the door in the case. This is the new rubber in there, and you can see it shuts perfectly. It seals very good top and bottom. And just inside the case here, where my finger is, I'm going to zoom in on that a bit and see if it shows it a little bit better. You can see there's there we are. There's a small step in there, right here. And when you close the door, it goes against that step. So you can be out just a little bit the outside diameter of the rubber, and it still closes tight against that step. The step goes right up to the pivot point on both sides. You can see it there. And when it closes, I put a light up to this side and looked from the other side with the mirror, and there's just a small pinhole of light coming in both sides where the pivot is, which is as good as it's going to get. So it worked out really well. So I got the door apart here, and I just used a wire wheel on my die grinder here. You get the idea there. You just go over it just lightly and just take off any surface rust and stuff. I'm going to be hitting this with some etching primer when I'm done here, and yeah, just get the surface rust off so the paint sticks better. You can use a 1/2-inch drill or a deburr tool. I find the drill worked a little better in this application for me, just to take off the burr on the underside of the door where the spot welder came through, and just go over it and take all the burrs off and get it cleaned up, and we'll get ready for cutting out the template.